Climate migration, the displacement of people due to climate change, is often misportrayed as the global south invading the global north. However, empirical evidence shows that most climate-related mobility occurs within countries, not across borders. In Canada, the impact of climate change on internal migration has received limited attention, but it is a growing concern. This video explores how climate change affects mobility within Canada, focusing on factors influencing movement, the disproportionate impact on Indigenous communities, and gaps in research. It also discusses recommendations for addressing climate-induced migration in Canada. The term environmental refugee is criticized for lacking legal recognition. Instead, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, defines environmental migrants as those compelled to leave their homes due to adverse environmental changes. Different definitions highlight that climate-induced migration can be temporary or permanent, internal or international, and result from rapid or slow onset events. While the United States has taken steps to address climate-induced migration, Canada lacks a comprehensive policy on this topic. Sensationalized media headlines have raised concerns about climate refugees coming to Canada. However, Canada's immigration policies do not specifically consider climate migration. Some cases of climate migrants arriving in Canada highlight the complex interplay of factors influencing migration decisions, including climate change. Various factors influence internal climate migration within Canada, such as the likelihood of recurrent disasters, economic means, age, and housing situations. Indigenous communities are disproportionately affected due to their socioeconomic conditions and geographic vulnerability. Slow onset events and recurring hazards pose unique challenges for affected communities. Host communities also face challenges in accommodating new evacuees, especially when recurring hazards strain resources. Climate change can limit access to resources, restricting the mobility of vulnerable communities. For instance, the Saskatchewan Cree First Nation community in Northern Ontario faces annual evacuations due to flooding. They signed an agreement with the government to relocate, but concerns about government commitment remain. Economic means plays a crucial role in climate migration. Low-income households often lack the financial capacity to move after disasters. In situations of rapid onset hazards, destroying entire communities, mobility may not be a choice, as evidenced by the destruction of Lytton, BC in 2021. Indigenous communities are disproportionately impacted by climate change in Canada due to socioeconomic conditions, their location in environmentally vulnerable areas, and the politics embedded in ongoing settler colonialism. The government's actions, such as diverting water during floods, can exacerbate vulnerability. For instance, the 2011 Manitoba floods led to the evacuation of 18 First Nations communities. Some residents consider themselves refugees in their homeland due to forced relocation. More recent floods in Indigenous communities, like Peguis First Nation, highlight ongoing vulnerability. There is limited peer-reviewed research on climate-induced displacement in Canada, especially concerning recent disasters and slow onset events. Existing data often focus on future intentions to move, making it challenging to assess actual migration. Additionally, research on how climate displacement affects host communities is scarce, despite their significant challenges in accommodating evacuees. To address climate-induced migration in Canada, defining this type of human mobility is crucial, potentially leading to legal frameworks supporting internally displaced people. More research is needed to understand climate-induced displacement better, particularly its impacts on Indigenous communities. Proactive measures like planned relocation, multi-level governance, and resource allocation are essential to manage climate migration effectively. Ensuring Indigenous communities have a say in decision-making processes is crucial for equitable and sustainable solutions. Climate migration is a complex issue, but with concerted efforts, Canada can better address its challenges.